Welcome, race fans, to the beginning of an exciting and brand new season. I'm Alexander Ned. I'm joined in the booth by Rasav, and we are so glad you could join us for the 2021 Elite Racing League B, second half of 2021 here at the World Center of Racing. Already, we are, speaking of racing, we're doing it right now as far as qualifying here. Sorry, we've had some technical difficulties. We are trying to get you guys up to speed. And speaking of getting up to speed, you're taking a look at the guys that have already put down a lap so far in order to try and get their bid early for a Daytona 500 great starting spot. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the duel. I have on my sheet over 62 cars attempting to try and qualify for this field. So the duels are important. If you're new to NASCAR, we run basically our biggest race of the season right at the drop of the green flag here. In order to get that, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm getting some international. That is so weird. Excuse me while I try to figure out exactly what is going on right here.
No worries there, Alex. And I'll just take away right now. We've got Chad Thornquist on the track taking his qualifying run. Yeah, we are a little bit delayed here just due to some brief technical issues, but you can already see Josh Laffer right now, the man with the fastest time. Kyle Hanshaw joining him on the front row as it stands here. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about, I think, upwards of 60 cars, I think, trying to qualify for this event and just 3 open spots. Additionally, with 40 chargers. So it's going to be an exciting qualifying session. It's going to be exciting duels. Guys have a lot to race for, and it all starts right here. You're trying to get a good run in Chad Thornquist, one of the open cars here, in that number 92. He'll cross the line. We'll see what that lap time is for him. You can see there the 60 seconds for Tate Lytle and Joshua Personnette, both of them not able to make their starting time. So they're going to have to race their ways in. I believe Joshua Personnette, a chartered driver. Tate Lytle, though, I do not believe is chartered in that number 56.
Yeah, and that's going to be very important. As you can see, I don't know exactly those lap times right there. I'm a little confused by because they're both at 60. I don't know if necessarily they just threw away their lap, but it's not going to help their chance as far as at least making their way in on speed. We will explain how these guys can make it in throughout the night. In both the duels, we have two 50-lap duels to give you guys, to give these drivers a shot to race their way into the Daytona 500, which will be next week. But right now, the best shot is to try and qualify right now on speed. And as you mentioned there, Rickshaw, we have more than 60 drivers attempting to fill 43 spots. People are going to go home tonight crying.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna be really tricky for these guys. As Vincent Isabella now starts his flying lap, but I mean, a lot of guys trying to make it into this race, and a lot of guys are not going to make it. Like I said, 40 chartered drivers, so 40 guaranteed spots, and that just leaves 3 open drivers with a chance to get in. I believe the way that'll work is the fastest driver in qualifying will get locked in, and then 2 drivers in the duels will get locked in. So that's what we're going to have to pay attention to. We're going to keep an eye on that as the night progresses. But right now, the job is simple: put a fast lap down here at the Daytona International Speedway. And that's actually really tricky to do here because you're flat out the entire way around. So we're talking about minuscule differences between first place and last. And so you're going to have to be inch perfect here if you're going to want to get yourself in as an open driver.
That's very, very, very true. I mean, you only have 48 seconds because they're about to try and prove that you have the speed, perhaps, to try and get in. And if not, then the duels are going to be insane because you have a shot of going. The only way you get a shot at the Daytona 500 is basically to win.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to win those duels if you don't get that good qualifying lap in here. So again, just a lot for these guys to think about. Next up on track, we're expected to see Colin Bowden. I don't quite see him running though here, so not too sure of the part-timer will be making this Daytona 500 qualifying session. We'll switch over to the next guy who we'd expect to start seeing running, and that would be Brendan Key. He's lining up right now. We're going to take another quick look, though, and see if we can find Colin Bowden on our timing screens. Reminder that all the numbers for everybody have changed as well this season, so a lot to look at there. Don't quite see anything here for Bowden running quite yet, so we're going to wait for Brandon Key here to launch off fairly soon.
Yeah, Brandon Key's one of those guys who will have to race his way in. He's racing for Team Belly Up Racing. he will be in a Chevrolet tonight, and hoping that speed will get him into tonight's main event, so that tonight's main event won't be a factor for him. But if so, then hopefully he'll have a great spot. I remember Brandon Key from last season. He's one of those guys that is definitely able to race with some of the best here. He seems to always be up at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Key, a talented driver here. He's getting used to returning back into the Cup Series here. So we'll kind of see how he fares here in that number 99 Chevy Camaro. Yeah, very interested to see Brandon's progress to getting back up to speed as a full-time driver here in the Elite Racing League's Premier Series. Brandon gets out onto the track, and he's going to get his run underway in just half a lap here.
Let's talk about attacking this one lap here on this 2.5 mile racetrack here. The 99, you saw him immediately go up high and ride that wall. What's he doing there, Rashav?
So what you're trying to do there is, so you're out immediately onto the racetrack. You're trying to carry as much speed as possible, and you're just extending that out lap here. So you're building up as much speed getting because you're starting from ultimately stationary. So the more space and time you get to get that extra mile an hour, that can make such a big difference. And then the second you get out of turn 4, you're really high up against the wall, all the way up until you get to the triangle. Then you're back down, and you are on that yellow line the entire way around this racetrack, trying to scrub off as little speed as possible and trying to take the shortest route around this racetrack.
So you can see Brandon Key immediately doing as you had just said with that 99 car riding the bottom of the racetrack there. A little bit off that double yellow line as he reaches down the backstretch, but he'll hug it once again once he reaches turn 3 and 4, trying to get all that he can. Right now, his speed over 185 miles per hour in a next-gen car that's new for this season and all of Elite 2021B. We'll see what happens as he crosses across the start-finish line right here. One lap going to be good for Brandon Key. Will it be enough? Right now, he's shown
48.324 is the lap time that he puts in, and he goes to the top.
That is a pole winning move right now as far as how they run, but that was a blisteringly fast lap, about 1/10 better than what we saw with Vincent Isabella, who had just went out of the lap before. Both those cars are in open, but Vincent, unfortunately for him, that move makes it so that he has to race his way in already automatically.
Absolutely, yeah. So just suddenly makes things very difficult as we head over to Jacob Adams now, who's heading out onto the racetrack, and you see the same behavior here, right up against that wall, getting up to speed. Right now, your top two, Brandon Key, Vincent Isabella, Jacob Adams, a rookie here in this in the Cup Series, and got to do some quick checking here. A lot of new drivers out here, but want to see if Jacob Adams is one of our open drivers, and he is.
So Jacob Adams running along at a turn number 4. These guys, I've seen a lot on Twitter. These guys are anxious because the great thing about Daytona is that anybody really can win. You have a shot to visit perhaps the biggest stage in all of your career. It doesn't matter if this is, on iRacing, if it's in real life. Everybody, race fan or not, knows what it means to win at Daytona. And just for a shot to be part of this historic 43-car field here tonight, that's what these guys are running for. And you could just feel the intensity. You can feel the excitement brewing around this race. I mean, we were already feeling it last week on a super speedway when we weren't even anywhere near Daytona. I mean, that's just the draw that Daytona brings here. So we'll see what happens as Jacob Adams blistering over 184, 185. Don't know if that'll be enough to knock Brandon Key off the pole, but we will see as he rounds across the stripe, ending his qualifying run, and it will put him on the board.
That should be the pole time right there for Jacob Adams. We'll watch his timing and scoring just quickly gets updated, but I'm seeing a 48.301.
Wow. Yeah, mine is not updating as fast as well. We see Dylan Thomas about to be on here. But, yep, there you have it. 48.3. I misspoke. So that was just enough to get the pole right now. That, therefore, knocks Brandon Key out of a chance to make it in on speed. These open cars here showing some serious muscle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all open cars going early on here to start off this session. So all these cars we're seeing right now are guys who are going to have to race their way in. So like you said, Vincent Isabella, Dylan Jones, Joshua Kerr, all of these guys, open cars. They all have to try and race their way into this event. So right now, Jacob Adams, the only guy who's in a safe position, but we've been seeing this track get faster and faster here. Jacob Adams, the most recent guy to really just absolutely crush the rest of this field with that 48.3 flat.
I was going to ask you about that. Is there such a thing, even though it's on our racing, about the track getting faster with more cars getting on? Is that what we're seeing here with consistently top speed from these competitors?
Absolutely, I think so. We're going to see Dylan Thomas. He just put in a lot of time there, 48.329. So that's not going to be enough to overthrow Jacob Adams on the racetrack. But let's head over to our next driver before we get to that. And that should be Alexander Van de Sant, if we can find him out here on the racetrack. But yeah, no, the track conditions matter a lot here at this racetrack. Obviously, you're laying down a little bit more rubber on that bottom lane the more and more cars go. But the biggest thing you're looking for is things like cloud cover, the way the track temp changes. And on a super speedway, you don't expect that to make a massive difference, but it can make enough of a difference where you can find this little bit of track, that little bit of lap time here. You're carrying a little bit more speed through the corners. Your tires are gripping a little bit better.
I see. So that is very interesting to see as we see Alexander Van de Sant. He is with Do Good Motorsports at Chevrolet and in an open position as well. Looks like he will complete his time.
Just misses out.
7th on the board.
Yeah, just going to miss out here. He's going to be second there to Jacob Adams, so he's going to have to race his way in. We're going to switch over now to Devin Rogers. Should be the next guy out on the racetrack, just trying to locate where that car is with all these new numbers here for guys. Number 78 car, Devin Rogers. He's going to head around the racetrack, already on his flying lap, and he's going pretty deep down this back straightaway to the middle of the racetrack, so extending that line a little bit. Hoping that maybe allows him to carry a little bit more speed here. So we'll see how this works out for this number 78.
I like that paint scheme there. Very easy to spot as he rounds off the corner and heading toward turn number 4. And his hopes of making the Daytona 500 lay right here. A little bit slower, though. I see 183, 184. We've seen 185 kind of best out of that corner. Will it be enough, though? Did he make up enough ground? As his lap comes to a complete.
48.34 is the time we're seeing on our personal timing and scoring there. And then you see in 7th position, Devin Rogers. So not enough for him. Next up, we've got Dallas Myham now. He'll be taking it to the racetrack. And let's see if we can find Dallas, who is running down here, down the back straightaway.
Man, how cool is qualifying? And actually just announced in the real world, we're bringing qualifying back at least for the championship finale for Phoenix. I know that was a big thing that we had to end because of the pandemic due to 2020, but it's been a long time since we've actually seen qualifying play a hand in how you start a race. And so it's great to see that. I know we had that in the real world for the 2021 Daytona 500, but it's nice to see this also make an appearance here in the virtual world as well. You see Dallas Myham. Let's see what his time is.
Dallas going to go up with a 48.365. So again, not going to be enough here. Right now, you're looking at guys who can just beat that number 25 car, Jacob Adams. And right now, no one has been able to do that quite yet. Trey Holmes now takes to the racetrack in this number 88 Chevy Camaro for Fueled Up Racing, I believe, is his affiliation there.
Yeah, I have raced with Trey Holmes a couple of years ago from the PS3, PS4 type days, and this is a competitor that is hungry behind the wheel, and do not give him a chance to get to the front because he will take it, and not only will he take it, he will run away with it. So Trey Holmes doing a great job trying and get a spot in the Daytona 500. We'll find out as he goes across the stripe, and it will be...
Trey Holmes puts down a... 8th place run, 48.316.
Close. Very, very close. 3rd on the board, though, but that's a car I would keep an eye on in tonight's duels because I know personally how fast that man is, and once his back is against the wall, look out.
Absolutely. Well, now it's Hank Steinmiller taking to this racetrack. We'll see what he can do in this number 10 car. Hank obviously always a threat in the Elite Cup Series, but running as an open entry here for the Daytona 500, trying to race his way in.
And, again, another unique paint scheme on this car.
Yeah, I should say my apologies here. We are having some technical difficulties, not quite able to load all of the new paint schemes with these next gen cars. Could be just an issue there, but
Oh, okay. My
so
mistake.
so
It is an interesting paint scheme if that's not his or not. But
yeah, certainly interesting paint schemes here, but these are not the paint schemes that a lot of guys have worked hard on in the offseason. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get those accessible for you guys here in these pictures. Just not quite yet here. Hank Steinmiller finishes his run with a 48.31. 309 there you see is the time, and that's not going to be enough though to put him to the top of the timesheets.
he was with Lake Norman Motorsports there, Chevrolet.
Absolutely. Now I believe we're going to start heading into our chartered cars. Johnny Thomas being the first of those there in that number 91 Chevy Camaro, moving over from the Mustang to the Camaro this year. I believe leaving the former Richmar Florist Esports team. Johnny Thomas now driving for Belly Up Racing.
And as you can see, you had mentioned the first of our chartered. All these guys are guaranteed a spot in the Daytona 500 next week, which will be live right here on YouTube, beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Johnny Thomas going through the trial here. What will the clock say as his lap comes to a complete end?
Let's take a look here. Johnny Thomas throws in a fantastic lap time, goes to the top of the timesheets. Right now with a pole setting time, 48.298.
And while we are beginning to run these chartered cars, I think congratulations is in order. I do believe Jacob Adams will be able to race his way in on speed, if my calculations are correct, because he is the last of the open cars, and he was the fastest of our open cars there. So if that is indeed correct, I guess I should say this is unofficially, as I await word from people who are much smarter than me. But I believe Jacob Adams will be able to breathe a sigh of relief here tonight. He will not need to race his way in through the duels. That car should be the fastest of the Go Homers, and he will be able to start the Daytona 500 with a shot to win it later on next week.
Yeah, let's see what Gerald Campbell can do. Your reigning champion heads to the start-finish line. Moving over to the Ford Mustangs this season with the next-gen car. Gerald Campbell crosses that line. 48.291. Gerald Campbell to the pole.
It's interesting to see what little bit of speed these guys, you have to wonder what they're doing inside the race car there to just try. I mean, we're talking about shaving off mere tenths. I mean, you can't even blink your eye that fast. The amount of speed these guys are able to find on the racetrack here. Congratulations, Gerald Campbell. No wonder he is our defending race champion for Elite. Familiar black number 3 car. Man, that looks good at Daytona.
Absolutely. Scott Haney always runs this number 3 car here. He's been doing a great job here. One of our regulars in the Elite Racing Leagues. Can certainly come to life at the super speedways. Running in a Chevy Camaro here, I believe, for Do Good Motorsports. Let's see, as he rounds outside of turn 4, 183 miles an hour. He dips down to off of turn 4. Let's see what this number 3 car can do. It's going to be a 48.31. And he's going to line up 6th.
So now
we should have Josh Adams out on the racetrack. Your pole sitter from the last 2 seasons with the Daytona 500. So look out for this guy in terms of putting down a stellar lap time in this number 95 car. Let's head over to Josh Adams. There he is. Down the back straightaway, you can see a really up against that outside wall here. Heading in, he might still actually be on his outlap here. Might be a little bit delayed. So Josh Adams kind of building up speed here to start his flying lap. We're used to having it a little bit close together where one guy finishes, another guy starts, but Josh Adams delayed here. He's just now going to start his flying lap.
As Josh Adams goes across the stripe, real quick, I am hearing there might be a little bit of an audio issue, and it might be coming actually on your mic. I was just told that from somebody else that was watching our YouTube channel, so I don't know if there's a way for you to fix that while on air, and unfortunately I couldn't tell you that without that
Copy
that
that. No,
notice.
no
We continue
worries.
to get some technical difficulties out of the way before we begin the duels.
Absolutely. Let's we'll take a look and see what we can do to fix that. I have some theories, and of course, rainy season. We're all wiping off those cobwebs. So
we'll give this a shot.
While that is happening, Joshua Adams across the stripe. It'll be a 48.265. That will be enough to put him on the pole so far. Joshua Adams with a great run here at Daytona. He'll carry it off from the track in first right now.
Yeah, great drive there by Joshua Adams. Excuse me, as we're just trying to get the mic issues all sorted out here. So apologies about that to our headphone viewers. But Brody Moore now back out onto the racetrack in this number 13 car. We'll see what he can do.
He is racing for the Racing Point Emu in that Chevrolet. And that is, again, a charter car. He is guaranteed a shot in. Working down the backstretch over 184. Let's see if it gets to 185. It does so. In line,
even.
just touching 186. I don't actually know if I've actually seen that. Perhaps the other drivers might have been flirting with that just a little bit, but that is showing some promise. The southern end of the speedway. He'll exit turn number 4, hugging that double yellow line. What will we see as he crosses the stripe?
I'm seeing 48.383, which I don't think will be enough here for Brody Moore. That's going to throw him some ways down the order, and there you see P19 Brody Moore. So we're only seeing the top 21. We have already had, though, 26 cars on the racetrack. Next one up is Richard Hines in this number 87 Ford Mustang.
Richard Hines. Let's see what team he is driving for. It looks like it'd be 90 Motorsports in that Ford Chevrolet. Or Ford Charter, excuse me. I'm also reading. I'm reading on this Excel screen what these teams are for. He'll round off turn number 4. Didn't see him hit 186 as well. Let's see, it's going to be just a little bit slower, I believe. But again, he is guaranteed a shot at Daytona 500 for next week. And it'll be a 48.4. A little bit slower of our chartered cars there so far. But how about this Jeff Green? This is the man who has seen some action, some racing at Daytona in the real world. I remember actually was right there at that section of the speedway back in 2000. He actually went flipping. As Darrell Waltrip once famously said, all the greatest drivers have flipped at Daytona. Jeff Green has done it both in the virtual world and the real world here, using that experience here today and showing why he is the 2000 Xfinity Series champion. Glad to have him for another season of Elite. He reaches down the back straightaway over 185 miles an hour. It's looking good for him.
Yeah, Jeff Green becoming one of the regulars here in the Elite Racing Leagues and one of those guys that you really got to watch out for, especially on these super speedways. So I'm so excited to see what kind of speed we're going to see from Jeff Green, but not just this one-lap speed. He's obviously a chartered driver here. He's guaranteed a spot into this race. I can't wait to see what he does in these duels and, of course, the 500 next week.
Always seems to be a factor no matter where we go, especially at the restrictor plate tracks, if we still call them that. I know they run with a tapered spacer right now, but Jeff Green, it looks like he will be on the board in third, a 48.296. Not bad from the former series champ.
Alec Balvans
next
now
Alec.
out on the racetrack here, driving for, I believe, the Racing Point Limousine team as well. That is correct. Yep, coming out here from Sheridan, Wyoming. Looking to, I believe this will be his second full-time season here in the Cup Series. Had a solid rookie season last year. Moving over to these next-gen cars, we'll see how he improves. Can't wait to see, what we expect to see from Alec Balvans. I think he could be a serious dark horse throughout this championship.
Had a little bit of a bobble there out of turn 4 there. Saw the car get a little bit loose right there. Don't know if that'll be enough to scrub off speed, but it looks like he'll come out 48.4, so a tad slower than what we've seen in the past. Or is this his opening lap right now?
No, I believe that might have been his lap time. We still see him flat out here. So there you go. You see him diving off the racetrack. So Alec Balvans is, in fact, done, and that's not going to be a great starting position for the duels, but of course, a long way to go in the night, still with the duels taking place later here. We'll head over now to Dustin Dewar, who should be our next car out on the racetrack, and there you see him.
You know, you mentioned the next gen cars. We're seeing them on the track here. Not only do they just look so good, but that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about all season long because these guys, we've not had this in a season for Elite. So what we saw last season might not necessarily transfer over to this season. It's going to be the great unknown, I think, the X factor starting this 2021 B season.
Yeah, I know through testing a lot of drivers that we normally see successful, not really enjoying how the next gen car drives, as Dustin Dewar finishes his qualifying run there with a 48.318. So that'll be a solid time, puts him in 10th position here. Next up, we should be seeing Ethan Burrell now in the number 37. Let's see him as he heads out onto the racetrack. And there he goes, starting his flying lap.
Ethan Burrell for Pro Edge Racing. Not Toyota Camry. What might have been 1 week ago with him and his teammate David Tooker there getting together on the exit of turn number 4 after Connor Daly, the IndyCar guy, got a little bit loose in front of him, and both their shot at winning the clash ended up in a crash. Hopefully that will not happen here tonight as he races his way in. He's already guaranteed. We'll see what speed that 37 car has.
Yeah, we'll see as he comes across the 4th corner here. What kind of speed does Ethan Burrell have? Did well in practice with his drafting buddies, but here he's all alone. It's going to be a 48.303. Not going to be enough to get onto the front row, but 6th position there for Ethan Burrell. Not a bad job at all for that number 37 Toyota Camry.
I mean, when you look at the field, though, we're talking about 1st through 21st separated by literally 100th of a second there, Rashad. I can't believe that. That's literally what we're seeing. It's so competitive throughout the entire field.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this, I always love talking about this, and it's take out your stopwatch on your phone and try and start and stop within 1/10 of a second and just understand how close these guys are together. I'm doing it right now here, and I can get 0.14 seconds every single time, but man, try and get yourself to start and stop your timer in less than 1/10 of a second and just understand how close this field is. It's really incredible.
Just things you do behind the wheel here can transfer so much. Everything you do can take 1/10 off. It can add 1/10 on. It is insane as Colin Fern was able to put it up to 11th with a 48.306.
Yeah, 7th place there. Actually, for Colin Fern, 48.305 is what we've got here on primary timing and scoring. And Kendall Noah Player takes to the race track. Kendall Noah Player, your 2020 B Daytona 500 winner. So he's hoping to go and grab his 2nd 500 victory. We'll see what this 94 car can do in qualifying, but look out for him once the races begin. Nobody really has that better awareness on these super speedways than Kendall Noah Player. He's one of those drivers that I rank as the elite, no pun intended, drivers when we get to the speedway package racing.
Yeah, that was a great race. I remember that race. He had to survive. There was a lot of carnage there, but that's what you need to do in order to win, and he was able to do that extremely well, ending the race in victory lane. So we'll see if he can go 2 for 2. I don't know if that's ever been done. Has that, Rashad, in the Elite?
No,
Might not be a stat that I want to bring up.
I don't believe we've had repeat winners, but you're going to see here is actually Kendall Noah Player well down the order there in 24th position as we just scroll down and see some more times on the timing and scoring sheets. We'll head over to from our winner from 2 seasons ago to our defending winner in the number 11 here, Matthew Weeks, coming to try and get the repeat victory. We've never had a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, let alone a repeat victor. Matthew Weeks thinks he can be the man to do that, though. Was fastest in practice, of course, with the drafting help of his teammates, but let's see what he can do now with just a single car, no drafting help. And he'll come across the start-finish line, and we'll have a good idea as to where this 11 car will line up for his duel.
If you're piloting that number 11, you are bound to be fast. It's won 3 of the last 5 Daytona 500s in the real world, and I know that is something that Matthew Weeks likes to see. As far as being a Denny Hamlin fan, we'll see what happens. What was that lap time?
That was a 48.296, so ties him with Jeff Green, puts him in 4th position. So that'll line him up probably second right now in his duel behind Gerald Campbell. So outside of the front row of that duel, but of course still a number of drivers still to go, and those including Harrison Talon in this number 23 Chevy Camaro.
Yeah, I was able to talk to Harrison Talon late last week at the end of that race. He was involved in that big crash ending segment 1, but he got the draft with one of his heroes there, Kyle Busch. He's been a big Kyle Busch fan. He said that was perhaps the coolest moment he's ever had on iRacing. So I know he was just smiling, even though he was wrecked. He had a smile on his face behind that wrecked number 11 car, Kyle Busch there. We'll see what speed he brings to Daytona as he finishes his outlap.
It's going to be a 48.322. So we're going to see him line up probably right there in the 14th position, and there he slots in. We'll head over now to David Tooker, who's just starting his first flying lap.
Again, we had already mentioned it before. Teammates getting into one another in that big crash. Actually, they crashed even before that big crash. So I know David Tooker wants to see some better results for himself and that entire race team. I think they just want to kind of complete a race. I don't think anybody wants to be listening to us on lap 40 or 50. I think they want to be able to see at least 190 or so and get through the entire race.
Yeah, one thing I will say about David Tooker and the rest of that Pro Edge Racing team is they've got a large squad of cars that they can rely on here. One of the more well-liked teams for sure on the grid, and that means that they have a lot of drafting help once we get to the races. We'll take a look, though, here as David Tooker puts in a 48.298, so he should line up, or 299, excuse me, lines up there in P6. We're going to have Zishan Dura now, should be the next car out on the racetrack. We'll switch over there to the 0-1. Zishan finishing second, I believe it was, with Gerald Campbell last time we were at a plate track at Talladega during the chase, and that was, of course, the race that Zishan pushing Campbell to that victory. That was the race that got Gerald Campbell through to the next round of the chase, got him through to the Final Four, and got him to eventually win the championship. So probably one of Gerald Campbell's favorite people in elite racing leagues, I'm sure. Zishan Dura, though, his teammate. Let's see what he can do running alone here at Daytona for his qualifying lap.
And, people remember that, as you had mentioned there, Rashav. People remember those that can push really well. That's something that I guarantee you other drivers in the field are going to take notice on. That 01 car, we saw him do it at Talladega. Can he do so again at Daytona? That's a car you want to work with here in order to improve your shot of winning the Daytona 500.
Absolutely, yeah. Zishan Dura, I think, has certainly made a name for himself as one of the better super speedway drivers we've got here in the elite racing leagues. As I'm just going to try and see if I can find our next driver out on the racetrack. Don't quite see Chuck Sweeting here, who should be the guy who's out on the track right now. Trying to see if I can spot him on our timing and scoring, but not quite yet. We will switch over to then Zach Evans, who would be the next driver to go in line. We'll take a look and see if the 6 car is out on the track, and he is, in fact. So should be starting, I believe, his run here, Zach Evans, across the line.
And completing.
Completing his run, yeah. So looks like Chuck Sweeting, just delayed there, actually, in terms of whether or not he was running, but just got that confirmation that Chuck Sweeting would not be taking his run. Next up, we should have, let's take a look here, Chris Wright taking the next run, but I do not see him on the track either.
These people are so fast, we can't even find them here, folks.
Absolutely. Timing and scoring, giving us a little bit of issues here, and especially with, not used to having something like 50 to 60 cars here on our timing and scoring screens. So a little bit tricky to find everybody's number here.
I don't know if there are that many pit stalls at Daytona for 50 or 60 cars. So I think you're doing a great job there trying to find out who is next in line. I think we have Michael Goodman. I see you have pulled up right there, but he looks to be the next in line. Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Chris Wright going
there's
to
Chris
finish
Wright.
his run here. We just caught the end there. We'll catch the start of Michael Goodman's. So here we go. Chris Wright throws down a time, a 48.291, I think I saw there. And he is going to go to the second position as Michael Goodman
Not
now heads out onto the racetrack and starts.
not bad at all with that run. And shout out to that paint scheme. I could clearly see that was supposed to be a throwback to Ricky Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. And interesting note, that movie came out today, 15 years ago. So we've been
Wow.
shaking bacon for 15 years. Hard to believe, huh?
That makes me feel really old. 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
That does make me feel old.
Wow. Oh man. But yeah, I mean what a great movie, of course, and what a great reference there from the Chris Wright car.
All right, so Michael Goodman next on the board. That 50 car looking for some extra speed as he exits turn number 4, 183 miles per hour. What will the track take as he completes his outlap? I believe. Or maybe he's actually just starting out there. This should be his lap 1, so.
I believe this would be his flying lap. Yeah, Michael Goodman actually, I think, launched off just a little bit slower there than we normally see. So a little bit behind schedule, but
hey,
yeah,
you go whoa when you can. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
didn't see a bobble. I didn't see a bobble at all. It looks to be a really nice lap right here. We saw 186, 187. So definitely one of the fastest cars we've seen, at least on that end of the speedway.
Yeah, let's take a look here and see what can Michael Goodman do in this. It says number 50. Believe he's still running that number 44, though. We'll get all that changed once we get an opportunity here, and that's going to be a 48.331. Going to throw him in, I believe, in the 20th position ahead of Vincent Isabella.
All right. So Joshua Adams still has the pole. That's been a 48.2. I haven't seen a 281, excuse me.
I mean, would we be shocked if Joshua Adams grabs a third straight pole position here at the Daytona 500?
That would be awesome.
It really has been incredible, the speed that Joshua Adams is able to find at these racetracks, and just how fast he's able to go. Obviously, we have some big names still to come here in in this event. RC Anderson, the guy who's coming after Casey Hatch right here in this number 14 car. But let's see what Casey can do. But yeah, I mean, just incredible by Josh Adams so far. Casey Hatch going to cross the line here at 185 miles an hour and put down a 48.335. So he's going to be outside of this top 21 that we see here on your screen. Meanwhile, RC Anderson should just be taking the start-finish line, and there he is in a Chevrolet for the first time. Don't think we've seen RC Anderson running in a Chevrolet before, so new team and new run there for this number 52 car.
I wonder, we give a lot of hype to manufacturers and everything. Obviously, they play out a big factor in the real world, but I wonder what it's like to drive or switch, should I say, from a manufacturer that you've been loyal to a brand new manufacturer and a brand new team. I mean, we do have brand new teams, brand new numbers. A lot of it's brand new for this season. This is not just a carryover from 2020. I mean, we're in a brand new car. There's so many news. I'm so excited for this 2021B because we're going to experience this and we're going to find out with you guys as well at home what that really means. Do the Chevrolets have an advantage here? Do the Fords have an advantage here? Will we see drivers that we normally don't see working together be able to work with one another because of that manufacturer change?
Yeah, not a strong run there for RC Anderson. Only puts out a 48.357. So again, outside of this top 21 that we see on our screen. But yeah, man, oh man, it is going to be really interesting. I think the manufacturers, I'd be surprised if it makes a huge difference. But the teams is really where it makes a difference. And it's the guys who are working with the guys, especially at a track like this, these plate races, the people you can rely on really makes a difference in terms of how your race can go. So moving teams, you've definitely going to have some growing pains here, and we're going to see those during the duels here. Don't be shocked if we see maybe some teammates get together. We'll kind of see as that all plays out, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be really intriguing. They're going to want to try and get all those out of the way before we, of course, get to the Daytona 500 next week.
Daniel Martinez is going to complete his lap. Looks like he will be, as we await timing and scoring, seventh. Not bad with a 42, or excuse me, a 48 2, I believe I saw that. And it's actually up to second. So that not bad at all.
Yeah,
Just
very good lap time there from
100.
Very good lap time for Michael Daniel Martinez. Yeah, that would be huge for him to get that front row starting position alongside Josh Adams. Still some drivers yet to come. One of those, Josh Robin here, another one of those drivers that we typically look at as being one of the guys to really observe at these super speedways. Can be very strong. One though at the Bristol night race last season, the full distance night race that we ran, that locked him into the chase. We'll see, though, how he fares here on the high banks at Daytona. He'll cross the line and put in a 48.289, so another one of those lap times. And that should actually, let's see if that actually dethrones Michael Daniel Martinez. It'll go down to the exact timing here, and we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. It's also interesting to see that speed out this late, but as you had mentioned there, we're seeing some of the faster cars being able to take to the track here. So Joshua Adams, he can't lock up that trophy just yet. He's looking for that third pole, but as we've seen so far, some of these folks on the track are not that far off. Let's talk about Chad Frankenfield. I think we all know this guy, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Chad Frankenfield, league owner, former Daytona 500 winner, former champion of the Cup Series. What hasn't this 15 car achieved? Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible run of seasons for Chad Frankenfield, of course. I think he's got the most starts, of course, in elite racing history as the league owner, and he puts down a good time there, 48.307. That should throw him into the 13th position when all is said and done. But yeah, I mean, look out for that guy on these super speedways. Certainly knows how to get the job done, and yeah, we'll see as Trevor Elam will now roll off of pit lane, or should do. And there he goes. An update on Josh Robin. He does not get that front row start. Puts in the same time as Michael Daniel Martinez, but goes in second, so he will not get that front row start. Imagine if that is your second and third place drivers there, and that's how it's decided. That would be heartbreaking for Josh Robin.
I mean, so close. How close can you get it? You can tie, but I mean, I think 2011 Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards will be able to tell you sometimes that happens, and it sucks to be on the other end of it.
Absolutely. I mean, just, if you ignore Josh Adams, you go from second down to fifth. That is 0.02 of a second that they are separated by. I mean, this is ridiculously close here. And of course, the entire field as a whole is ridiculously close. We're talking about less than 0.5 of a second separating first to 21st.
Yeah. Very, very blazingly fast. A very, very even field. And you know what that tells me there, Rashab? Is that, again, anybody really, truly in the right position has a chance to win this thing. So, I mean, yeah, you might have the fastest car, but I don't believe we're going to see one car kind of control this, especially with this next gen on the track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this next gen car drives, though. In the pack, we got used to a certain type of racing with the old formula, plate package that we had here on iRacing with the Gen 6 car. Now switching over to this next gen car, kind of different aero rules, different everything, the way it handles, the way it drives in a pack, the way it drives in the draft. So a lot of things that guys are going to have to consider, and again, big learning opportunity right here. They got a chance to learn at the iRacing Super Speedway, but not all of these drivers were there for the clash. Trevor Elam, not a great run there for that number 29 car, only puts in a 48, I think it was a 48.374, so he's going to be well down the order there as well, as we've got Nick Massey just starting his run. We'll scroll down here and show you guys the rest of the field. You see Trevor Elam in the 33rd position with that last run. A number of drivers here behind, and you see there 43 cars have put lap times down so far as we get a little bit of a blink from Nick Massey. You've got a few cars here with Tate Lytle, Colin Bowden, Jordan Owens, and Joshua Personette, and Chuck Sweeting, all actually waving their run so far. So they're going to have to make up that time in the duels.
All right, so Nick Massey doing a great job out of turn 4. We'll see what that bright yellow and red paint scheme can do.
Looks like a 48.289. That's going to throw Nick Massey into 4th position with the 3rd car with a 48.289. How about that?
Wow. I can't even tell you the last time I saw a 3-way tie for second, which is what, obviously that will not translate into how they sign up, but that's those times. I don't think I've ever seen that in iRacing, so that's kind of pretty cool.
Yeah,
Jared Rexing, he's a guy that's already seen victory lane here so far in 2021B.
Absolutely. Rexing with that victory in the Clash. He knows how to get the job done here at a plate-style track or tapered spacer-style racetrack in these next-gen cars. The only man to do so. Let's see what he can do in qualifying, though. We'll look out for him in the duels. We expect him to be competitive all season long, but especially at these super speedway-type racetracks. He'll cross the line here for his qualifying run, and let's take a look. 48.326 is the time from Jared Rexing. Won't even crack the top 21. Just how competitive we're looking right now.
Hey, you're only a tenth behind the leader. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're 22nd.
Exactly. I mean, just so incredible how close this field is as Rusty Capel now takes to the racetrack in the number 9.
Yeah, that is a fame number. We already know the history behind the 9 car there, both in the real world. Now Rusty Capel trying to pilot it to a new legacy, perhaps in iRacing, as he goes down the backstretch. 185, 186, perhaps. Yep, just a little bit, 187. So definitely on par for what we've seen from some of the fastest guys all night long. We'll see how that translates here to the front stretch. A little bit wide out of turn 4. He'll hug the bottom of the racetrack as he gets through the tri-oval, and he'll complete his fast lap.
Cross line then for Rusty Capel. That should be a 48.408. Not a great lap time for that 9 car. He's got some work to do in the duels. We'll keep an eye out, though, on that number 9 Chevy Camaro. Again, as a charter driver, you don't necessarily have to have a great qualifying run. Of course, if you have a extremely good qualifying run, you get yourself onto the front row of this grid. But everybody else, you're still going to be racing hard for your starting spot for the Daytona 500 in the duels.
Joshua Clark, I believe this was a guy that was a factor in last year's duels as well. I remember talking about his name very much so. I think he was caught up in a late race accident, though, but was right in the thick of things. And shows why he's had a great run and some success at these restrictor plate racetracks.
Yeah, another one of those Pro Edge Racing Toyotas there. Know how to get the job done, know how to work well together. We'll see what this individual lap time is, but keep an eye out for him when we get to the duels. And it's going to be a 48.324. Again, not enough to crack that 21st position that we're seeing here on timing and scoring. So he'll be just behind Brandon Key. Not going to be able to challenge for that pole position. Next one up, we've got, it should be Andrew Rucker. We'll take a look and see if we can find that number 64 car somewhere out on the racetrack. There he is, Andrew Rucker, I believe, just finishing turns 1 and 2. A former Daytona 500 winner back in, I believe, 2020A, if I've got my seasons correct.
I saw what I thought was a little bit of damage on that car, but it looks like it's just actually the paint scheme. I was kind of concerned. So I did not know what he would have possibly hit. But nope, all is well. Let's see if that translates to the stopwatch.
Cross line for Rucker. It's going to be a 48.333. So again, not quite good enough. And again, we're talking about half a tenth off of pole. But here at Daytona, unfortunately for him, that will not be good enough.
Next, we have on the track is Brent Jones in that 44 car. Excuse me, 89. We'll get our, what do you call it? That is the 44th car to qualify, I believe, right?
Yes, you are, well, more or less correct. We've got some of the practice times in here, so numbers there are a little bit off, and the numbers you see on the screen, trust that ticker you see on the left-hand side of your screen more so than what you see on the bottom. We're just showing you guys the mile per hour of these cars here as they head around this racetrack. The real timing and scoring update takes place on the left-hand side there on that tower. Brent Jones, though, going to cross the line here in this number 89 car. 48.353.
That's lower than what we saw from the last car there. And again, not enough to break into the top 20.
Moving over now to Tyler Dixon, a man who won his duel this time last season. Look out for him when the green flag drops in those duels. We'll take a look and see, though, how he does in this one-car qualifying.
And these guys trying to get everything that they can right now. We mentioned already how important it is to try and solidify a good starting position here, or at least one on the pole. However, something that actually we have not talked about. I don't know if your starting position, this will be how you start tonight's duel, but how you finish the duel will be your starting position unless you're on the front row. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, Rashov. Is that not the case here?
For the most part, you are correct. However, a new rule we've actually implemented this season as Tyler Dixon finishes his run with a 48.288. So actually, I believe that might put Dixon there on the front row, and it does. 287, excuse me. We'll head over to Caleb Thompson, who'll be running here in just a second. Absolutely. So what that tells us, I'm losing myself here. The new rule that we've got this season here is, yes, the fastest two cars should be on the front row. However, if they wreck out of their duel, just like in real life, they lose that starting position because in theory you'd be going to a backup car. So you wreck out of your duel or you finish more than 6 laps down in your duel, even if you did qualify on the front row in the first 2 positions, you will lose that starting position and revert to your duel finishing position. So just something to keep an eye out for as we watch Josh Adams and Tyler Dixon. Might want to just keep their noses clean here. That incentivizes that for sure, versus having those guys just going for that overall win where you really don't have much to lose if you do crash out of your duel.
All right, so as we see, we saw actually we have a brand new pole setter right now with Scott Crump.
Oh.
We didn't even see it. It was so blazingly fast. It was 48.277, and that is our pole setter right now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we completely missed that there. So excuse me. As
Yes.
Caleb Thompson finishes his run with an even faster time. No, sorry about that. We've got all sorts of different things going on here. Tyler Fody just starting his lap. Caleb Thompson running his flying lap right now. Didn't quite see Scott Crump there on the timing and scoring list and the run order after Tyler Dixon. And yeah, put in a fantastic lap time there. Sorry, Scott, we didn't get a chance to see your lap time there. But he's going to be the man to knock Josh Adams off the pole. So Scott Crump could be the one to end Joshua Adams' string of Daytona 500 poles.
Wow. Again, we kind of jokingly said, like, it was so fast we couldn't even see it. But still, the top 20 still separated by less than a tenth and a half. So, but he went out there. He found something. Tyler Fody, in that 40 car. Let's see what he does as he completes his outlap.
Tyler Fody going to start this flying lap and gets a little bit high here now out of the tri-oval. He's going to try and arc this corner a little bit more. I wonder if that's the faster way to do this here in these next-gen cars. I know with the previous-gen race car, it was pretty much hug that yellow line all the way around the racetrack, I think, to get the fastest lap time. But you're seeing guys really track out pretty far up, as you're seeing here from Tyler Fody, to try and arc the corner as much as possible. So we'll see how this kind of works out in terms of lap time. Hits that 187 mile an hour mark that we've been keeping an eye on down the back straightaway. But I think through these corners is really where we're going to see that lap time lost or made. Off of turn 4, let's see what Tyler Fody can do.
This is a guy that we know definitely can push and work his way inside the top five. That's the name I would want inside the top five at Daytona with 5 laps to go.
Wow, and pole position for Tyler Fode is what it is. He goes with a 48.261, a huge lap from that number 40 car.
We are definitely seeing, I believe, the speedway pick up a little bit, but the talent and the caliber of drivers we're seeing here ending this qualifying session is definitely up as well.
Just two more cars
Blindingly
here.
fast by Tyler Fode.
Yeah, two more cars here. Corey Abbott and David Westergreen, the last two cars to qualify before we take a brief 20-minute break before the duels begin. But man, oh man, what a intriguing, an intriguing qualifying session this has been. Josh Adams seemed to be the dominant car right up until the last couple of runs here. Tyler Fode and Scott Crum putting in huge laps to right now be the front row. We'll see what Corey Abbott and David Westergreen can do about that, though.
Out of turn 4, the 21 car. Fame number in NASCAR.
Take a look. Corey Abbott puts in a 48.410, so not quite enough there for that 21 to get underway. So we're going to switch now back to David Westergreen, the 60th car to run here at Daytona. Yes, 60. He's going to try and put this number 12 Lake Norman Motorsports Chevy Camaro up on the front row. Let's see what David Westergreen can do. My co-host in the booth last season, moving over to run Cup full-time this season. Looking forward to seeing how he does down here on the racetrack.
I was actually able to look up this information here. The biggest field to try and qualify in modern history was 62 cars for the 2004 Daytona 500.
Wow, well, how about that? So we haven't quite hit that number, but still 60 cars to attempt to qualify, especially with 40 charters. Boy, oh boy, that's a lot of drivers, like we said earlier, going home disappointed. David Westergreen, how will he feel after his qualifying lap here? It's going to be a 48.296. A great lap time there from David Westergreen. That should put him around the 10th, 11th, 12th position. We got 3 drivers with that exact same lap time, and that's going to put him 12th position. And there you go. That's the end of qualifying here from Daytona.
So congratulations to Tyler Fode and Scott Crump. Latecomers tonight, but they were able to put it on the pole and the front row. And Tyler Fode in that 40 car will lead him down to green, should he be able to keep his nose clean for the duels that are coming up in less than 20 minutes. Also, want to give a congratulations out to, I believe it is our highest car. Was it Joshua Adams?
Jacob Adams. Yep. Jacob Adams, our highest
Jacob Adams,
open
excuse
car.
me, there we go. Our highest outlook. He will also be running in the Daytona 500 there. He is guaranteed to make his way in on speed. So congratulations there to Jacob Adams. He, with a time of 48.3 flat, able to make it in the big show. He will have to breathe a sigh of relief. He still has to get through these duels, though, and that's something that we're going to break down here momentarily. But for now, we are going to take a quick break because we definitely need water to figure out less audio issues that we're having here tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you all for tuning into qualifying here. Switch over to the duels live stream at 8:30 when that gets going, 8:30 Eastern time that is, and we will see you on that side. So see you all in 20 minutes.